Good afternoon everybody, it's Kay here from Taunton with the final episode in the series ABC of Papercraft, sponsored by www.handyhippo.co.uk. It's time to review all the previous 7 episodes with a view to tidying everything up and affording you the opportunity to look at some more cards made from stocks that I've received throughout the time. But a brief review of what's been done. In episode 1 it was the introduction to the series where Build a Sentence was introduced, a challenge with a prize of £20 at the end of the series for Build a Sentence. The Build a Sentence comes about by finding mystery words introduced in each of the episodes in a written format on each of the subsequent videos, and the words are in sequence, so it's been made very easy for this first outing. And once you've got all of the words, the sentence needs to be emailed to Edie-Jane at handyhippocrafts.co.uk by October the 1st. That is the deadline for the competition. The winner will then be chosen randomly and publicised on October the 3rd. So that is the first episode. In the second episode we talked about various adhesives, all pertinent to your craft making, whether you're matting and layering your cards or applying extras onto the card, like the rose here, which would probably take a silicone. The matting and layering on this card, which was done with Kalal glue. You can also use wet glue sticks and double-sided tape and that kind of thing. This is just a very brief overview of what we covered. The cards are here in the hope that you will remember some of them. In episode 3 we talked about designer papers and whether you chose a 12x12 or a 6x6 with all the available extras that come with a lot of these designer papers. And hopefully you went along to Handy Hippo and saw what was available and made some decisions as to how you would like to proceed with your own personal ideas in card making. In episode 4 we talked about the various tools that are required, and I think you'll agree there are a myriad of things, but you do have your basics like a good pair of scissors, some cutting implement, a trimmer of some kind. There are excellent ones on the Handy Hippo site, tweezers, rulers, paper, pens, anything you care to mention really as a bog standard to your craft beginnings. We then went on to colouring, and Teresa Carr, another DT member, did some colouring with Prima doll stamps, which was very successful. Last week's episode, episode 7, was related to card inserts and the actual inside aspect of your card, whether you were adding a card inside or paper inside the card to write your sentiments on, or in fact whether you were just going to stamp a sentiment into the card like this. It's all open to your own personal choice. For those starting out in card making as complete novices, I think it's fair to say that there's no right or wrong way to make your cards, or any card crafting project that you would care to get involved in. It has to be your vision, it has to be what you see in your imagination, and then you hunt out the various bits and pieces that you need to make that all come to be. In this last episode we touched very briefly on envelopes. If you buy packs of cards pre-made and pre-scored, invariably they have envelopes with them. So again, for the first time crafter, I would suggest that that is probably the way to go. There are multiples of sizings of envelopes available these days. This is the C5 that can be bought separately in very, very many shops, and if you recall, the C5 is an A4 piece of paper that is just folded and creased in half very carefully. Then there is the DL size envelope, and this is for cards that are opening from left to right, and they are long, as this envelope suggests. You can also have them tent fold, which is opening from the bottom to the top. It really is up to you, but this is a good size envelope to use. The C6 size, which is also readily available. There are square sized envelopes. All of the envelopes are there available on the Handy Hippo site. If you by chance happen to make a card that doesn't fit into any of these sizes, then you can always use an envelope as a template in a paper 12 by 12 or some such, and make an envelope yourself. If I find myself in that situation, what I usually do is wrap it like you would a Christmas present, but wrap it slackly so that you can actually just slide the card out and keep it all in order, using double-sided tape and perhaps a little bit of sticky stuff on the back. The other thing when you're making cards, and you're making lots of cards, is storage of the cards, and ideally you want your cards to be free from household condensation such as cooking mist and dust. We all have it, unfortunately, and these cello bags, as they're called, are available on the Handy Hippo site. This particular size is 5 by 7, which would hold a card of that size, we'll say. They are self-sealing, which is wonderful. You just peel off this little protector here and then fold the top of the card over, and that is your card perfectly protected until such times as you want to give it to someone or sell it. They actually do add a very nice finish to the product, and invariably if you're selling your cards and you're on a stall or at a craft fair, you really don't want people handling your cards too very much, because finger grease does leave its mark on the cards. So that's that aspect. I would like to just show you some cards that I've made from the design papers that I've had through over the 8 weeks from Handy Hippo, and I would like to start with the Lady Rose range, which is from Kaiser Craft. This is one of the cards, and it is such an easy card to make. On the paper you have these sentiments that you can cut up. This one says the shortest distance between two people is a smile, and I just then matted and layered the rose paper onto some ordinary craft card, and I think you'll agree that makes quite a pretty card in its own right. Very serviceable, and it would suit lots and lots of different occasions, from thinking of you to happy birthday, or you know, somebody who perhaps that hasn't been very well. It would just cheer them up a little bit. Here is another from that paper range, and you can see they're all coordinated. All I've done is cut them to size. This is the DL size that I was talking about, with the matching envelope, and providing you don't put any embellishments on the card that are too high, they will snugly fit into an envelope and through the cheaper slot for postage. This is friends or family, you get to choose, which is rather a lovely sentiment as well. So it's nice for someone perhaps that you haven't seen for a while, or a special friend that you are thinking about at a given period of time. Then there is this one, which again is from the same paper range. All of the colours are beautifully coordinated. There are sticky bits here, these two butterflies for example, and this border that I've just stuck across the paper, just matted and layered, and it does make a very classic looking card, again that would suit most occasions. This one says, truly great friends are hard to find. difficult to leave and impossible to forget. Well, I think we all have friends that we feel that way about, but again, a very serviceable, very current flavoured card. We can call it a flavour, I think, on the basic card craft stock, which lends itself beautifully to the colours within the paper range. So there are 3 very different cards there, I think you'll agree. The only thing that links them is the colour coordination. You have these sentiments you can use, little words like this that you can make up into little plaques and things. There are the roses and lots of different papers within the pack, and you could make lots and lots of cards just from that one particular pack. And the last one in that range is this large card, but it would be ideal as a leaving card for someone with lots of people to sign. The embellishments are also within the pack. This is just an ordinary sticky backed flourish, if you like. You just simply peel it off the paper, put it onto the card that you want to use, and go from there. It really is a very versatile paper pack with many different components which give your cards a different look, even though they are all ostensibly from the same papers. Another paper range is the Botanic range, and this is from Craftworks. It's a British company that I've mentioned before, and I've done the DL size card again. This is just the paper from the paper stack. Alongside it I made this little scalloped edge from a punch. This flower was from a die cut sheet, and you just pop them out, sculpt them a little bit to raise them and give them a little bit of height on the card, and a little thank you tag here. And I just lined the inside of the card with the piece of paper that was left over from this, and you'd literally just type out your sentiment on the computer perhaps, and anchor it onto the base of the card. But again, I think you'll agree, for somebody who likes the countryside and nature, it's a rather nice card to put together. And then there's this one using ribbons, using the matting and layering method once again on the DL card, the only difference being I've backed it on this matte silver card, cut out the corners with a punch, applied some ribbon, and this again is one of the sentiments that comes within the pack, but it is again a very versatile designer paper with lots and lots of embellishments that you can buy as an extra to the pad, but in doing so you can then make lots and lots of cards without too much ado. So that is the Botanica range. I'm running out of space here. And then there's Webster's Pages, which are really cutesy papers, I think more directed at children and new babies and that kind of thing. And this is just a card that I put together using the paper stack, using the contrasting ribbons that come with it. I punched out an edge here, as you can see, which is the reverse side of the main paper, added a floral flourish with some leaves from a die cut, and just put it all together in that manner. Hello world, and it is just a really cute, sweet little card for the advent of new parents. There's a little area for journaling there where you could, if you wanted to, put the baby's date of birth, weight and so on, just to keep as a keepsake to celebrate the birth. And then the final one, again, I made an easel card using the same papers. I've lined the base of the card. You can obviously put your sentiment here, reach for the stars, applied the stamp star band there, and just the card just goes together like that. Just an ordinary card for any occasion, perhaps an inspirational if you've got somebody that's got a hard task coming ahead of them, or a child that's done very well at school and you want to congratulate them and keep them on the same track. These kind of things work superbly well in that event. So this then closes the series. I've tried to marry up a lot of the things that we have talked about. All of these things, as I've said, have crossover paths. Once you get your crafting kit together and you get inspired, then you start looking for alternatives to build up your stash so you can make different cards that are interchangeable. The easiest way to do it, in my opinion, is in the first instance to have colour coordinated papers and embellishments and sentiments, so that you're able to put cards together very quickly to enhance your card making experience. But it's all very individual, and the only thing I would say other than that is to make sure you enjoy what you're doing, because the enjoyment of what you do actually becomes apparent in your work. As I said, these are very, very basic cards just to give you an insight in as to what is available to you, and the fact that you don't need to be an advanced card maker, if such a thing exists, to put forward a good card. On the bottom of the video I will put the email address of Edie-Jane, the lady that you need to submit your secret word sentence to by the 1st of October. If you know the sentence by the end of watching this on the Handy Hippo channel, please put your entry in as soon as you can, because they all have to be collected and reviewed and put into a system whereby a random name can be chosen. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for following the series. Best wishes to everybody. Take care. Bye bye.